Mark Weisbrot, to the surprise of the coup regime, Zelaya's returned to Honduras. He's now in the Brazilian embassy in Tegucigalpa. But if he were in New York and wanted to speak, address the UN General Assembly, what would happen at the United Nations? Who would they recognize?
Well, they would recognize him, and he would get enormous support. And that was, I'm sure, his other plan. If he hadn't gone back to Honduras, he would have spoken there. But this, I think, is much more powerful. I mean, that would have gotten maybe, a few lines here and there in the news. This now forces it to the world attention. You're going to see a lot of support in the United Nations and from various heads of state for Zelaya, a lot more pressure. And here in Congress, too, by the way, and if your viewers want to do anything, they can contact their members of Congress, and there's another letter going to come from members of Congress stating that Zelaya should return. And also, the School of the Americas Watch has asked for people to write to and call the State Department. So, there's going to be more and more pressure on them. And the question is, will they really do what needs to be done to get rid of this government? Because the government there still has their friends here. You had Lanny Davis on the show. They have influential people. They have the Republicans, and they have, a lot of interest in this government, including the military wants to keep their base there. And there, there's all these forces here that don't really want Zelaya to go back. Or if they're willing to have him go back, they don't want him to go back as a victor. That's another thing that they're very worried about, that he comes off winning and their friends in the government, in the de facto regime, end up losing. So again, it's going to take a lot of pressure, but that pressure has definitely gone up quite a bit with Zelaya's return.
Mark Weisbrot, I want to go back to Andres in the Brazilian embassy in Tegucigalpa. Andres Contreras, who's with Democracy Now! In Espanol, Democracy Now! In Spanish. He is right near the president now, who's talking with reporters. Andres, describe what's happening.
And right here with the president, and he is speaking. I'm going to let you hear his voice and try to interpret a little bit. Y obliguemos a la dictadura que entre en este diálogo para solucionar los problemas. We will obligate this dictatorship to enter into dialogue with us. Lo hicieron en mi casa cuando invadieron mi casa, provocando este estado de facto y represivo que tiene hoy el pueblo hondureño sometido y secuestrado. Just the way that they attacked my house and they brutally kidnapped me, this is the way that they are attacking us now, even today. The president is taking a drink of water now, and we're going to ask him a question. Presidente, un saludo, Presidente. It's not possible to get a question in right now, but we will just listen to his response to other questions. Estados Unidos, señor Presidente, quieren saber qué es lo que usted pide para el pueblo y el gobierno de Estados Unidos.
Que hagan respetar la Carta Democrática de la OEA.
That the U.S. should respond and respect the OAS Charter.
Que se convoque de manera urgente al Consejo de Seguridad de Naciones Unidas.
The United States should call for a meeting, an emergency meeting of the United Nations Security Council.
Y que se preparen para actuar con todas las actividades comerciales y económicas para hacer que esta dictadura entienda el mensaje.
The United States should take every type of trade sanction measure in order to pressure this regime now in power in Honduras. That's the questions I was able to ask Mr. President.
Andres Contreras, thanks so much for being with us. We will continue to follow the story, bring you more on this tomorrow. Again, the latest news is that the president, the democratically elected president of Honduras, Manuel Zelaya, has returned to Honduras after 3 months. Not exactly clear how he made it over the border, but he said he walked, he traveled. Not clear who aided him in this, and then ended up within the Brazilian embassy. The coup regime leader, Roberto Micheletti, is demanding of Brazil to turn over Zelaya so that he can arrest him. Andres Contreras with Nonviolence International and Democracy Now! In Espanol is standing next to the president right now in the Brazilian embassy.